Okay, so this is attempt number 2 at what if Deku had a familiar. Well, 3 familiars. As you see, the 3 Egyptian God cards from Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, they're gonna have their own personality, you know, stuff like that, but... Oh, wait, hold on. A little quieter. But anyway... today, again, we're going to be doing what if Deku had familiars. Now, these 3 familiars are going to be the 3 Egyptian gods from Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, the 3 Egyptian god cards from Yu-Gi-Oh! But actually alive, which I'm pretty sure they're not, but I don't know. Again, very confusing. Oof, sorry. I had Burger King like an hour ago. I don't know why I'm just burping now. It's probably because I'm chewing some GUM. But, yeah, anyway. So, we're just gonna jump straight into me, again, explaining. Again, I have to re-explain. What's going on. Basically, there's people with quirks, there's quirkless people. There are people with familiars that are quirkless, or people that have quirks and familiars, which is like super duper rare. And even getting a familiar is it's incredibly rare. It's completely unheard of for someone to have more than one familiar. Now, how strong your familiar is depends on how big the tattoo is on your body. You know, most people have one that at the very, it's normal for people to have one that covers their entire arm. No, not normal. That's rare. Most people either have one that covers either from the palm of their hand to about halfway up their forearm, or one from the palm of their hand up to their elbow. That's considered normal. Now, there are rare cases of abnormalities. Now, what these familiars do is they're not natural familiars. See, when the user, when it's required, the familiar will either turn into an article of clothing, piece of armor, a weapon, objects, such as like a frying pan, a book, stuff like that. I know, frying pan, really random, but whatever. Or an accessory, like a hat or a necklace. And with these items equipped, the person will gain special abilities. Now, again, there's people with quirks. So, yeah. Now, Midoriya's childhood was pretty much identical. All the way up until the sludge villain incident. Now, during this incident, something very interesting happens. He's knocked out. And while he's unconscious, All Might saves him, the norm. But while he's unconscious, he wakes up and he finds himself in a tomb. With a giant statue of only what he could assume to be a pharaoh sitting in a massive throne, bound by chains. As the pharaoh began to move, you can all probably guess this is Exodia. If you don't know who Exodia is, basically in the cards show basically everything that involves Yu-Gi-Oh! Exodia is the 1-win card. Basically, he's divided into 5 pieces. Each one of the 5 pieces is very weak on their own. But if you have all 5 of them in your hand, you automatically win the duel, no matter what. It doesn't matter if you have 1 life. If your opponent's... The moment you draw that last card, you win. It doesn't matter if your life points are lower or higher than your opponent's. It doesn't matter how many cards are on the field, you automatically win. Because Exodia is the strongest. Sorry, I'm Again, chewing a piece of gum, I do apologize for that. But, back into the what if. So, he sees, Exodius sitting on his throne. He sees Izuku. And Exodius has been losing power for a really long time now. Granted, he still has a lot of power, it's just very weak. And he knows he's dying. And if he dies without giving his powers to someone, the universe will be exposed to the Dark Realm. Which in Yu-Gi-Oh!, unless you have a piece, one of the Millennium pieces, if you go into the Dark Realm, you're gonna die. Your soul's gonna get sucked out of you. Not in that way, but in the way that you're going to lose your life. And that's how it works. So, Exodius, he gets up, he's still bound to the chair. Not bound to the chair, but he's still bound to this area. Izuku, he's backing up, he's like, what is that thing? He's freaking out. I don't know why I said that like that, but, he's freaking out. Exodius like, I have chosen you, boy. I grant you the power of the 3 Egyptian gods. As he holds out his hand and slowly slides it to the right, revealing the Egyptian gods. Now, so I've decided that, Cypher, and I'm going to describe what they do in a little bit. He's like, I accept, as Ra flies over and kind of like an owl lands on Izuku's arm, creating like a phoenix type insignia on his left arm. Slifer wraps around Izuku's right arm, creating a dragon tattoo on his right arm, while Obelisk, jumps on Midoriya's back, leaving, a thing that looks a lot like Obelisk in his true form around Midoriya's body. His chest area. As each one of these insignia is, each one of the tattoos is burned into Midoriya's body, he feels his power growing. When he wakes up, he's like, where am I? He's looking around. He realizes he's in a hospital. He's like, I didn't even get their names. He notices that his body is, his arms are wrapped up in, bandages, sorry. Again, when I'm chewing on something, it's kind of hard to speak and chew at the same time, so, again, I apologize. And this is going to be one of them long videos because I didn't make a script for this, so I'm just coming up with this on the fly. I just thought of this as a really cool idea while I was scrolling through TikTok. I saw someone doing like an art thing where they made it to where, you know what, no need to explain. I'm going to continue. Anyway, so Midoriya, he hears voices. Well, kinda. He hears a voice in his head telling him, like, what to do and their powers. Basically, also, do you like my new background? I like it. Okay, so basically, Obelisk, when he activates him, can, either go big form or can create a suit of armor around Midoriya. Now, this armor doesn't look like Obelisk. It kind of does. Think of the You know the scale mail balance breaker from High School DxD? It basically looks like that, but it has Obelisk's wings and red eyes and, no gems. And less pointy bits. Basically. And it's blue. Except for the eyes, red, because Obelisk. Slifer can either become a spear or a sword. Or, I don't know, a bow. Yeah, a bow too, because I guess that makes sense. And Ra can either be, a book, because you may be wondering from the beginning, why books? Magic. If your familiar is able to turn into a book, you're able to cast spells. Same with other familiars, like spears, They're either normal weapons or magic-infused weapons. But those are mythological creatures. It's its whole thing. It's a whole thing. There's fairies, archangels. It's really confusing. So he can either be a shield, a book, or a giant fireball that can launch flaming magic missiles that can pretty much burn anything to cinders. Now, while he has Obelisk, on and equipped, he does get an insane strength boost. He's also able to fire, beams out of his hands and stuff. But normally he would just punch something and it would just evaporate, essentially. Now, his mom runs in. Deku, are you okay? He's like, I'm fine, Mom. Although, can we get these bandages off? They're a bit, restricting for some reason. Little did Midoriya know that before Exodia died, Exodia gave him, a more buffed body. So he's like, some people who draw fan art of Midoriya being super jacked? Yeah, basically that. I can't believe some people are that down bad for Midoriya. I mean, I guess it's understandable. People will be people, but still, Jesus. But I'm not gonna worry about that. So, Midoriya changes, he gets basically he changes into, I don't know, a zip-up jacket, leather, make, whatever you think you would look cool in. He's a lot taller, so he's a bit taller than Ida, by 4 or 5 inches, So, we're just gonna time skip straight into the, it's the UA entrance exam. So, Midoriya, he's walking in, Bakugo's like, get out of here, you quirkless nerd! And rushes him and throws an explosion at him. Well, Midoriya just turns slightly, raising his left arm, as Ra takes up this chance to create a shield. Now, what the shield looks like is, it's Ra's faceplate. It's just Ra's head, but flattened out, pretty much. You know how, on, certain emblems and stuff, it's a flattened out animal's head? And you're not gonna stop me. As his eyes light up, they flash 3 different... No. I'm a genius. The white part of his eyes turn yellow, the green turns red, and the black part turns blue. As he looks at Bakugo. Now, I know what you're thinking. That looks so stupid. But they're like, it's like a light glow, so there's energy emanating off of his eyes. So it looks terrifying. To the people outside, it looks terrifying. Ooh, I'm sorry. I almost fell. And I farted. I don't know why I said that. Anyway. So, again. Midoriya, then he immediately calms down, his eyes returning back to normal. The glow on his left arm disappearing. As he walks in, takes the, Ida does his whole thing, but Midoriya just, he didn't mutter or anything, so we're just going to jump straight into the practical. Although it's completely impractical, we're just going to jump straight into the practical exam. As Midoriya starts walking up, he gets to the front, he's cracking his knuckles. You three ready? He says while smiling. Now, I'm just gonna say it, Midoriya has, like, canine teeth. Just because. I don't know why. I think canine teeth look cool. I'm weird. Don't mind me. But, yeah. So, he walks up to the front and gets into a running position. Also, he did meet All Might, and, All Might did catch the sludge villain, so the whole Bakugo incident never occurred, so he hasn't got one for all. Unless you want me to give him one for all. I'm gonna record this until we get to the, I want to share the heroes versus villains thing, where he fights Bakugo for the first time. Yeah. Alright, we're gonna go until that, hopefully. So, continuing, as President Mike says, as the doors start opening, his eyes flash the colors. And then he just bolts, all types of, wow. A light yellow hue surrounds him. Red lightning is emanating off of him. And his eyes are starting to glow pure red. As he then jumps up, after taking out... Well, no. He summons Slifer in sword form. And basically tears through about 70 robots, earning him a little over 100, not a little, but over 100 points. For reasons. We're just gonna time skip. He's been cutting up robots. He hasn't really activated his other form, his full powered form yet. He's been using Ra in book form to cast incantations. Using Slifer and bow. Well, he's been using Slifer in sword, spear, bow, Ra in book, shield, and giant sun mode. Now I know what you're thinking. Dude, you gave Obelisk the short end of the stick. Well, Midoriya does have, just two. He has, full armor mode. He has three. Body enhancement mode, where he just buffs up. Or, I guess you could call it gauntlets and boots. Basically, where he gets the armor, gauntlets, and boots only. I guess you could say, the full armor is like a last resort. So, he's just tearing through robots. He's got hero points, villain points, the whole nine. Well, attack points and hero points. He's got the whole nine. I don't know who the ship should be, so tell me in the comments. But then the 0-pointer shows up. Aight? So Midoriya notices this thing, he's like, that's a bit overkill. As he gets an idea. They want to see overkill? Alright. Let's show him overkill. As Midoriya, you see a smirk appear on Midoriya's face as he starts to glow. Now, there are 3 auras coming off Midoriya. Off his left side, what looks to be like a raging yellow inferno is erupting off of him, while off of his right, a terrible tempest tornado of red energy, while off of his back, just blue energy is erupting violently. As he's like, I shall awaken. As the energies start fusing together, no, he doesn't say I shall awaken. I will release. The tormentors, evil. The evil's tormentor. The sun, the god of the sun, and the dragon of the skies. As he holds out both of his arms, as, the blue armor appears, as what seems to be... Ooh, wait a minute. A book starts floating on his left side as he holds his right arm out in front of him, creating a giant blade. Think of Zangetsu from Bleach, but, Cypher. Just think of it like that. As his eyes shoot open, they're pure red as the armor appears around him. Now, as the armor appears, everyone's looking at him like, he has 3 familiars? Hey, I'm recording. Don't say my name, please. Jerk. Haha! Just long enough. Now, as he's doing this, he then raises the blade to his side. Sun God's magic. You hear him say, as the edge of the blade is covered in a bright yellow energy. As then the back of the blade is engulfed with blue and red energy, infusing into the brighter yellow energy. As he raises the blade above his head and just swipes down. I don't have a name for this attack, but if you can come up with a cool name for the 3 Egyptian gods fusing their energies into one attack, tell me in the comments. As he slashes this wave of energy down, it just completely evaporates the 0-pointer. Now, what Midoriya did is he made it to where, with the magic from the grimoire that was made from Ra, he made it to where it was selective targeting. Basically, all robots in that general direction evaporated. As he makes the sword, vanish, along with the grimoire, and the armor, except for the, gauntlets and boots, vanished as well. He speed blitzes over and rips off, the rock off of the person that was trapped underneath it, grabs him, runs back, runs to the wall, where Recovery Girl was, and basically, yeah, that's what happened. So we're just gonna jump straight into oof. Ew, that was nasty. We're just gonna jump straight into the next bit where, you know, it's the exam, you know, the ball throw bit. So, it's the first day. Midoriya's walking into class. Everyone bombards him. How do you have 3 familiars? What are they? How are they so strong? Also, Midoriya can select, you know, the sizes. He can tiny, medium, or big. And, you know, the 3 Egyptian gods have sentience, so they can select their own size as well. You know, as his right arm starts to glow, he's like, what the heck? You know, as Cypher comes out and basically kind of wraps around Midoriya. You know how Asmodeus' snake does the thing where it, like, wraps around him and puts its head on his shoulder? Yeah, basically that's what Cypher does in a medium-ish form. You know, lightly growling while, you know, their eyes glow and lightning and red lightning and reddish mist comes out of both of the mouths. He's like, calm down, Cypher. What's wrong with you? You know, Cypher kind of just dips back into Midoriya's arm. Now, this is out of story, but if you want... Now, this is a big if. If you want the 3 Egyptian gods to be female and have human forms, I'm not going to stop you. Just leave a comment. And if it gets a certain amount of likes, you know, I'll do it. There will be one for yes and one for no, hopefully. Well, you know, never mind. Not many people comment on my videos anyway, so I'm probably just not going to do it and have to come up with a ship on my own. But yeah, anyway, back to the story. So as Cypher, you know, retracts back into Midoriya's arm, Midoriya goes to sit down. You know, he sits down, you know, he's reading a book. Time skip, you know, Midoriya is getting changed. And while Midoriya's getting changed, you know, he takes off his shirt. And everyone sees, you know, all the boys see, well, all the dudes see the 3 emblems. You know, Bakugo runs over, how do you have 3 familiars? Well, they already asked that, but, you know, they never expected the symbols to be so, you know, large. Or the tattoos to be, you know, pretty much fully encasing his body. As he looks over to Bakugo, who tried to, you know, after Midoriya put on, you know, the sweatshirt or whatever, that grabbed Midoriya's collar. As then, you know, with his left hand, he grabs Bakugo's and he starts concentrating energy, causing his hand to light up in yellow fire, creating a yellow gauntlet. And you see, he looks at his hand, he's like, huh, didn't know I could do that. Neat. You know, as Bakugo rips his hand out of, you know, lets go of Midoriya's collar, because it was actually burning Bakugo's arm. As then the flames immediately dissipate and the armor dissipates too. And he's like, huh, guess they really don't like you. As he sees Mineta, you know, about to look into the thing, Mineta says, I found heaven. This is heaven. This is the best school ever. You know, Midoriya's like, I hate perverts. You know, he equips the boot and then just punts Mineta into a wall. As then using, you know, he creates his grimoire appears as he then picks up, I'm just gonna say, like, in the gym. Not in the gym. In the locker room, there was, like, some spare materials for some reason. So he picks up a metal pipe, he pushes it against the wall as then, he raises two fingers. As the metal then proceeds to, like, jump at the wall, sealing the hole. That should fix it. As he then walks out, the grimoire disappearing, both hands in his pockets. Man's basically Jotaro. I just realized I've made Izuku Jotaro, but slightly scarier. Please no JoJo stands. Just murder me in the comments, for the love of God. I just need a break. Anyway. As then, Midoriya, he gets outside, he looks at Aizawa. Mineta's not gonna be here. Aizawa's like, why? He was trying to peep on the girls, so I punted him into a wall. Fair enough. Cool. Everyone gets there except for Mineta. Izuku's asked to go first, and he's like, you want me to go all out, or you want me to hold back? Aizawa's like, don't know. How strong are you? Midoriya, looks at the ball, and then he, like, puts his finger, he, like, grabs his chin. Yeah, I'm gonna hold back. Don't want to level the school just yet. As he then tosses the ball a little bit with his right arm, as it then lights, basically releases Cypher's energy into his right arm. As then when he throws it, basically a tornado going in the direction that the ball is going appears and boosts the ball in that direction, launching it basically out of the stratosphere. Izuku's, as the energy dissipates, and he's like, man, I keep forgetting he's the god of the skies. Alright, what's next? Basically, Izuku, for the rest of the challenges, he either uses, normal form, or if he really wants to show out, he'll go Obelisk, second evolution, which is, he buffs himself up using Obelisk's energy. His eyes turning a slight shade of red. Well, the green in his eyes turning a slight shade of red. Time skip. Heroes versus villains time. Let's go. So, again, he's teamed up with Uraraka. Well, Mineta did get kicked out, so if you want me to add someone and that be the ship, again, comments. Or, again, he already saved them. Or you want the three Egyptian gods to actually be girls and then them. Again, all up to you. Those are your three options for this. Or I can just make it one of the girls already in My Hero Academia. Always an option. Always an option. Then again, I could make it a Ruby show. Like, make Team Ruby appear. Or, like, make Ruby a part of Class 1A. Maybe. Okay, you have four options, actually. So it's either, because Mineta got kicked out, I'm going to add a character if you want me to, from any anime, or the character will already be in the class after Mineta got kicked out anyway, or the three Egyptian gods will all be girls and that'll be the ship. Or fourth option, I make it to where Team Ruby, is asked to join UA and they end up joining Class 1A, and it just be Izuku, X, Ruby, Whis, Blake, and Yang. All four amazing options in my opinion. But continuing forward, so yeah, basically right now it's Izuku and Uraraka versus Bakugo and Ida. Midoriya's like, don't worry, I'll let them handle this. As, his symbols light up and he releases the Toon versions, which I'm going to be ending this part. I do hope you enjoyed.